So last week we moved our debate. We moved our just reasoning, so we can watch the VP debate. Now this week, because they know how much traffic just reasoning gets, they decided to move the presidential, just cancel the presidential debate altogether. They didn't even have it because they know how we lock the place and lock the whole internet.
No
So they
competition.
decided to just cancel it.
Yeah.
So no debate this week for Trump to, go on into his foolishness. But in all seriousness, they canceled that debate because, Trump's still walking around sicking out everybody with COVID. But him don't want to claim it and said he doesn't want to do a virtual debate, so they cancel it. So all the best, that's one of those debates was enough. So I'm totally fine if we don't do that again.
I'm saying with the last debate,
Of course, him said that. Him saying win everything. And he. I'll give it to him. He manages to create his own reality, right? In the midst of whatever your eyes see. I mean, the first time I know how that man stay. I mean, when it comes to that, like making his own reality, was after his inauguration, right? when you could just clearly look at his inauguration with like a sprinkling of people about the place, and then how him go up there and say he had the highest amount, way more than Obama. And you just look at the two pictures. I mean, he will lie about something that you're both looking at. Like that water is not wet. Yeah, it's it's the craziest thing. I've never seen anything like it. But I guess if you can manage to create reality and live in that reality and get other people to that's some real sinister, deviant level of either evil or genius or evil genius, whatever it is. Anyway, it's election season, so we generally don't spend all the time talking about Trump on here because there's so much other things going on and it kind of sucks up oxygen in a room. But election is now about 3 weeks away. Yeah. And we're in that season. So as you can see, I have I voted sticker on today. I voted today. So early voting started in Texas yesterday, October 13th. And so, as like I normally do, there's like a place around corner from our house, like a community center where I always vote in every election since 2004. If it's presidential or midterm or local elections, I walk up there and it takes me 5-10 minutes to vote. And that's it, so that's what I expected again. Even in the Obama year, when there was all that excitement, it didn't take me more than 10 minutes to vote. So they open at 8 o'clock, so I figured I'll just walk myself up there about 8:15. I'll be done by 8:30. So I drive up there, and I never seen so much cars in my life in this neighborhood. I mean, the parking lot more than full. Cars all out on the grass, taking up all on the road. And I said, all these people here to vote? And then I go and look. And, I've never seen a line in the place. And the line stretched from the community center way out onto the track. I mean, a good probably 200 people were in line like 15 minutes after they open up. So I'm like, I mean, there's no way I'm going to go and wait in this. So today I figured, let me get it out of the way. So I figured, all right, I'll get to 6 o'clock and just go up there early. And I fully expected that once I got there at 6 o'clock, I wasn't going to see anybody. So I just chill in my truck until it's time to go and vote. I got up there, I was like 50 up in line. And they opened up at 8. I was like 50 up in line, so, I was prepared this time, so I brought my, a bag with snacks and food and, my coffee and a chair and all that. And I just chilled until the place opened up. But
jerk chicken and patty and thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm wearing the sticker all day long because I ended up voting about 9:15. They opened up at 8. It took about an hour and 15 to get to actually go and vote. So I got it done. Anyone have a voting experience they would like to share, or want to wait until the last second? What kind of people we dealing with here? Especially you
No, sir,
voted?
I'm not vote yet, but guess
Boy,
what
you
now?
calling people
Oh, up
out.
to the
Them,
brother,
them,
man. Here comes
them
this
long
bag of
line.
story now.
Well, no. Them long line I show you so they can't wait for road boy come out. Them a vote early and say, yo, even before Judgment Day on November 3rd, we want you already know, so yes, you need to start fast. Right?
So you know that's not all his supporters there ready to go and re-elect him.
Nah, man, because them see what going out the world, they don't want to get him out right away. Because you know what? Here's the thing now. Right, we need new reform, we need new leadership so black people can feel safe in our country. Yeah. And the way it's set up now with the police, if you raise up your hand, you get shot. If you put down, them are gonna shoot you. If you walk, them are gonna shoot you. If you
a truck fault,
them are gonna shoot you. All when you asleep, them are gonna shoot you.
Oh, you know,
right?
I would love to disagree with you, but I can't.
Right.
What you said, Doc? Sorry, cut this question.
To piggyback off, if that's his fault, I honestly feel like, I mean, he has taken the country back centuries. You know, I mean, that's just so sad and just disheartening. You know, it doesn't matter who is majority versus minority. At the end of the day, we all need each other. It doesn't matter who is, you know, whether the white wants to, you know, continue to hold the power. They cannot get this thing done without us. You know, and this man has come in and he has just honestly just pushed this country all the way back centuries. You know,
Texas.
and I mean,
Go on.
I just want to know how the Daka Twang, so.
Well, you know what? You know, here's the thing. I'm not quite sure what. No. I'm not sure what the audience base is.
Hey, we have all kind of people.
Right. So, you know, I have to kind of keep it.
No, man.
More on the English side versus. I'm gonna know who the audience is.
Yeah, right? It's mostly Trumpers who watch this program. So.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know, he really he's a disappointment, you know, for all the efforts, you know, all the laws that were put in place to also help brown and black people to kind of feel like we're safe. No, you know, it's like, you know, same thing 100 years ago.
Yeah. I would say, you know, disappointment is relative to expectations, right? He has done pretty much exactly what he said he was going to do, you know. So, you know, he has been, you know, he came as advertised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said Texas.
So voter turnout with the numbers that we have in this early, to me, signify a plus for what we're pushing for, you know, to get them out of office. I was reading some articles today, and it said basically Harris County's numbers on the first day trumped all of, I didn't even mean to say that. Trump. Basically outdid the numbers of the whole state of Georgia. That's our county, Harris County. So
wow,
that says a lot right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
One county versus a state. So we're out there early. Get out there early. Get out there often. Again,
early and often.
Yeah. Now,
but you can only vote once.
Now there were some problems early yesterday. So I know specifically in Fort Bend, they actually weren't prepared. Basically, what happened was the program or whatever they're using right now was set up for a later date. So they basically had to get that rectified and get that fixed. But I know, like by noon, you were able to get through. Now there were lines. You know, some people had to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I saw it in some places you had to actually wait 10 hours. But what that shows me is a level of commitment and a level, basically that people want this man out. I mean, you're willing to wait 10 hours in line just to cast that one vote. And
I'll lose your word.
Regardless of what most people think or what some people think, you know, it matters. Your vote matters. And to me, I'm going to vote Friday, but I did go up to the local school where that's close by us, and I looked at the line. And what struck me the most is the diversity of people. And there was social distancing in place, so I'm sure that makes things a little bit more cumbersome, and it takes a little bit more time. But I mean, we're willing. Like you said, I mean, Chris, he said he woke up. You woke up at
6
5 o'clock to go, and I know you don't go to bed till like 3 or 4 because I'm still getting emails.
That's what I'm saying.
So I mean, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think obviously it's a good sign, and the numbers are encouraging for a few standpoints. For one, high voter turnout elections always favor Democrats, just because the country is primarily Democrats. So the more people vote is generally best for Democrats.
Early voting as well.
Yeah, and so that is obviously a good thing. However, if you look at the thing about it is, okay, like I said, because they know that high turnout elections favor Democrats, Republicans do all they can to make it as hard as possible for people to vote, right? So in Georgia, for example, the first day of early voting was, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And you had people literally waiting in line for 11 hours to vote. 11 hours to vote. That's absurd. You know what I mean? It's good that people have that sort of commitment, but when you think about it, who can really afford to be in line for 11 hours? If you are, an hourly worker, or you have kids at home, you don't have that time to do that. So it's not a matter of can we make voting more efficient. For one, voting can be online. We have the technology to do it online. They won't do it. But if we can file taxes online, we can bank online. I mean, what's more personal than the taxes? And you can do all that online. So if they wanted to, they could. But they want to make it hard. They want to make it on a Tuesday, not even a weekend, not even make it a holiday. And then, some states don't even have early voting. So you just have to go there on that day.
It's what I mean? Systematic inequality.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And systems like that make this inequality persist. Again, only if you're a salaried worker who can take off a whole day and still get your money, you can go and wait 11 hours to vote. So others, who are, with lower income and, have to, and don't have that kind of freedom, they get screwed. Many of them aren't able to vote because we clearly don't want them to. So it sucks, but that's what it goes.
One thing I did see today in Houston itself was drive-in voting, which I thought was very cool and very convenient, especially for older people that might be at risk and don't want to get out the car and go into those long lines and things like that. They were able to drive up, cast their vote and drive on. So I commend that.
They had the Harris County clerk is a young brother, 34 years old. He's the county clerk for Harris County. He was on MSNBC last night. And, that was, I've never heard of drive-in voting, and that's a kind of revolutionary thing. So, I told you, I basically waited about 2.5 hours to actually vote. A friend of mine who, he's in Harris County, and they had drive-in voting over by Reliance. He said it took him like 2 minutes. He drove up there, and it was moving fine, and he got it done in like 2 minutes. So we can figure this stuff out if we want to. It's just that they don't want to figure it out. Wait, what you saying, Special?
Oh no, I was just saying that he was the same one that stopped a lot of the foolishness, because a question I want to ask everybody: if you turn up to the polls with an expired driver's license, should you still be allowed to vote? Huh?
You said should you or would you or will you?
Yeah, should you still be allowed to vote with an expired driver's license?
That's one of the requirements.
It's a requirement, I mean, you can argue that, but, that's something you just...
You were saying, the clerk was saying that it's still a person, even if it's expired. It's still a person.
I agree, but I mean...
Everyone don't need to still have a current driver's license. And he even made it he even pushed it further. He said it could be expired up to 4 years. Bring it. We will allow you to vote. Right?
Okay.
And I can commend that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people will allow, but that is one of the requirements to have a valid ID. It doesn't have to be a driver's license. If your driver's license is expired, or for some reason you can't get one, get an ID. You know.
Yeah, and you know what?
Everybody can get an ID though.
I was about to say
that.
Like it seems that's a deterrent to some people, right? And I for us, you know, because we drive and we travel and all that, so we know we need to have IDs, but many people do not, because they don't drive anywhere. They don't really have an ID. It's, you know, to be able to, you know, need transportation to go to the place to get. You know, for whatever reasons, you know, many people do not have ID, and it's, again, we talk about systemic inequality. You know, that's a deterrent to some people to vote, because they don't have the money to go and get it and what have you. So it sucks, but yeah, they don't want certain people to vote.
That's an initiative we actually need to look at.
One old lady said she hadn't had a driver's license for 27 years, right? But, you know, she had an old ID, and he was like, okay, that's fine. You know, so they were having this little community back and forth, talking about what kind of identification you can use, you know, to get voting. And, you know, I'm glad he was able to participate and tell people, hey, you know, just bring your ID in. You know, you just need the ID to bring it in. But, you know, to use an expired driver's license, and he was like, yeah, it's cool. And we'll allow that to 4 years. That's excellent.
If you can, I mean, I think that's good. I mean, again, it comes down to who controls the local polling places. If, you know, Republicans, you know, they're not having that.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, you just reminded me. So the Republican Party, in regards to the drive-in voting, they filed a lawsuit to get that stopped. I don't know if y'all heard about that as well. And the appeals court actually dismissed that. So yes, that's a win.
That's something I jotted down to talk about, because it's a pattern, right? That's they fight everything. You know how they, you know, with the drop off mail-in voting. You know how they had, you know, 12 drop off locations throughout Harris County, but the governor said can only be one for 4.7 million people. You know, so they want to make it difficult. You know what I mean? But as you said, we get a win every now and then. But and so as we talk about just like how important voting is, you know, one of the things that has come out to me during this whole Trump era is really paying attention to the importance of the courts. So in the case of where Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, said, you can only have one drop-off location per county, regardless of size, and it got, appealed. I guess I sued Texas for it, and then initially, the court overturned it, but then it got appealed to another court. On that court sat three judges federal judges put there by Trump. And what happened? They threw it out. So these are the little ways that most people don't pay attention to. I certainly haven't in the past. I do now. That they can screw over us in ways that aren't very visible. Like, how many of us really pay attention to what's going on in the federal court system? Majority of people do not. So
I don't have the time to watch
and they know that. They know that most people aren't paying attention, so they can basically do whatever they want to do. So that's why voting in every single election matters, man. Every single election, not just the big hype when it's a presidential election. Every single one of them matters. Doc, you have something to say before we move on to the next topic?
I mean, despite the supposed progress, my recommendation to the listeners is that, we cannot become lax. Okay, we gotta get out there in numbers, in droves. It doesn't matter what obstacles they potentially put up. We gotta figure out how to circumvent those things and get out there and make our numbers count. Because unfortunately, and I hate to bring up the skin again, but it's the black and the brown people that will have, take the beating. We are the
Yep.
ones that's going to be bastardized if we really don't get out there and, get this thing done. So we can't just sit back and say, okay, mom's going to do it, grandma's going to do it. All of us got to get out there and do it. It doesn't matter how good the numbers are looking,
Yeah.
and we're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed that nothing funny happens after, all our efforts.
Yep.
Because we already know the personality that we're playing with.
Yep. Here.
So-
I'll drink to that. I drink to whatever you say about that.